Enjoy the Southern Urban Experience on Mzansi Urban Radio.
We are together with our partners, South African Democratic Teachers Union Northwest, and we're talking about what is happening here today, about why we're here. We're talking to the, I think it's safe for me to call you the main organizer, Provincial Secretary of SADTU2023, Mr. Themba. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon, Prati, and good afternoon to your listeners of Mzansi Urban.
The last time we spoke, it was before the elections of the Northwest, SADTU election, Northwest Province. You came back as the Provincial Secretary. I guess I should say congratulations on for acquiring another term to serve educators in Northwest.
No, thanks very much, Prati. We also appreciate our members for bestowing us with this responsibility and the confidence they have in us to continue doing the work of the organization and servicing our members, which is one of our priority and pillar number one of the 2030 vision of SADTU, that we must continuously service our members.
The members have indeed entrusted you. You've brought them the third, Matric Excellence Award. We started in 2021. We went to 2022. We are now in 2023. How do you feel about this year's edition? We've just finished them. How do you feel about them and how they went?
No, everything went according to plan, Prati. I think it's growing by leaps and bounds. We are continuously making sure that on a yearly basis we add one or two categories. Because our aim and view is that at a particular time we must be more inclusive in terms of the categories that we are awarding. Our intention is that we must even move to an extent of now acknowledging those in our primary schools, because this is the foundation of our education. So in 2 years, 3 years to come, I think the leadership at the time will also consider that indeed we need to make sure that we fulfill this plan of being very much broad in our thinking and inclusive approach and really awarding all the sectors in the education.
There is no scientific proof that I can proffer to you, but surely the improvement in the overall performance of the province must be at least attributed to the work that these awards are also doing. Whilst we cannot prove it scientifically, there must at least be some relation between, or correlation between the awards, the celebrating of excellence, and the continuing improvement in the province results.
No, definitely, Prati. You'll remember that the crop of 2022, these are the learners who, unfortunately, in 2020, when the issue of COVID was stacking in, they could not complete their syllabuses. There was an issue of trimming of syllabus, and the very same learners, they went to grade 11. Having not completed the syllabus also in grade 11 because of COVID. Now this is an excellent performance, and indeed it's an attribution to our educators. It shows the hard work that our educators are putting in under very difficult circumstances, but they are able to put the effort and make sure that they prioritize the learners, and these results squarely we are putting them to our educators because of the resilience that they have shown, because of their commitment and their love for their work, whether there are shortages of resources or whatsoever, but this is a demonstration that our teachers are hard at work, and with the necessary support they can even surpass this particular performance.
There was a decision that was taken this year that you will be honoring those schools which are from, you've increased the mark a bit. We are now focusing on the 80 to 100% schools. What is the schools that achieved 80 to 100%? What was the motivation, behind that decision?
Look, Prati, we as an organization, one of the things is that we want excellence. We are talking a quality public education, and we think it was important that we raise the bar. You will remember last year we considered 75 to 100%. Now we've upped the bar to 80 to 100%. That is a demonstration that we really want to see excellence in our schools. We we don't agree with mediocrity. We want people who are able to work out and be able to produce the results. But over and above those schools, Brati, we have included one category of specialized schools, which we call them focus schools. Your agriculture school, your technical school, because we think it is important that we afford our learners an opportunity to diversify, in the space of education. We should only not just look into issues of them just doing certain subjects. We have issues of food security that are likely to be a challenge coming. So when you have your focus school, agricultural school, your technical school in that particular space, so we are saying that's how we are growing this particular program of making sure that we are awarding our schools for the excellent performance.
In your message of support to the educators who are here today, whom we are celebrating, you spoke a great deal about why there's a need to celebrate excellence. Take our audience through why is it important for educators' excellence to be celebrated.
Look, Prati, I think critical to this, it's merely motivational. We need to motivate our educators. They are toiling under very difficult circumstances. They should know that whilst they are experiencing those particular challenges, it is important that once upon a time we must come and appreciate them, because that on its own, it shows that as an organization we care for our members. We don't just expect them to work but not appreciate the work that they're doing, because excellence on its own, it's an appreciation. So we're appreciating the work that they are doing. We're appreciating that as members of SADTU, they have chosen us as an organization, and indeed we are proud of the work that they are doing. You'll realize that a number of our leaders here who are leading some of the secondary schools, we're getting awards here, 100% schools and whatever. These are the leaders of SADTU, and it shows and demonstrates that the leaders of SADTU have that particular courage and will to work, and that's why we're having this kind of a celebration today. You
also touched a bit on equality and quality of education.
South
Africa is the most unequal, or unequal, rather, beg your pardon, society, amongst the most unequal society in the world. You already you're having a focus to address both the quality and making sure that education is equitable.
Look, Prati, we will understand that education is very much important in our lives. Through education, many of families can be transformed, and that is why one of the focuses we're speaking about the quality of education is that it will be important that even government is able to fast track what we call the 3-stream model, so that our learners don't only concentrate in certain specific subjects, but they are able to do your vocational education and the rest of the others, so that we are able then to afford them an opportunity, because we think that there is a serious skill shortage in our country, and therefore it is important that government also invest much in education, so that we are able to close those particular skills gap and make sure that we don't outsource or insource expertise from other countries, but we have our own South Africans who are able to excel in a number of fields that are there in the country.
Piers, you also, for the first time, at least since this inception of these awards, are joined by a member of the Provincial Executive in government, the MEC responsible for education, who also gave a message of support. Is this a new shift in partnership with the department that we're going to see going forward?
I think firstly we must appreciate the commitment that the MEC have shown today to honor. We have always been inviting the department. You'll have noted, surely in 2 years we have had the Superintendent General of the department coming. But this time the MEC said, I also want to come, and it's part of our collaboration work and making sure that we strengthen the relationship. And so that the department must also realize that as and when we engage with them and we raise some of these particular issues, but at the same time, we do have educators who equally need support of the department, but at the same time they should realize the great work that the educators are doing. So we think it's part of the partnership that will go forward. The MEC has also committed that in the next coming version, she will also make sure that she strengthens this particular partnership with SADTU in the province in particular.
The one area that you touched on earlier on, and she also touched on, is the effort that educators are putting, extra classes, sometimes after school, sometimes in weekends. In fact, this is a norm. If you go to any township on a weekend, there's students wearing uniform coming from the school. But there was a key thing there, that all of that is done voluntarily, and the remuneration is not coming forth. Pierre, surely that can be right.
Look, Prati, this is a demonstration of selflessness. The educators, they care more about our learners. Whether the government has an intention to remunerate or not, what is important is that central to all of this is that we need to see progress in education. I don't think we're only motivated financially, but it's important that our educators are able to demonstrate their care. Indeed, we think with time, hence we are saying it will be important that the department must also start investing in the foundation of our schools. One of the issues that we are even pushing in terms of the amendment of the Bila Act is that grade R in South Africa must be compulsory, so that we are able to strengthen issues of budget, the provision of educators, so that we make sure that our foundation is very firm. Look, the system in our country, one can say it's in an ICU situation, because these learners every week, like we are saying, weekends, holidays, they are going to school. It tells you that there's a particular focus, and the focus is mainly in your exit class, and that thing on its own, we don't think really it's sustainable. We think it's important that we must put a lot of energy in building the foundation, so that there must be a seamless transition from one phase to the other. These learners, as they reach the grade 12 class, they must be ready and not be put into a sort of a microwave kind of a setup. That's why when you go to university, some of these learners, they have a challenge, because we are putting them under extreme pressure just to make sure that we chase the results. The results are very important, Prati, but you must know that the SADTU, we're not necessarily about who obtain position one. Us, it's not about that. It's number of learners who are able to qualify with good marks and able to be registered institutions of higher learning. And we think that can only happen if we do a lot of work on building foundation of grade R, making sure that everything that is needed in the lower phase, that support is there, so that we don't necessarily just put a lot of money and attention in the exit class, which is grade 12.
Is that why then you also expanding the awards to lower grades to include lower levels and not just matric?
Yes, Prati, because the focus in our country, unfortunately, it's about matric, and we think it's not necessarily much informed, because those who are doing the necessary work, who are making sure that they strengthen the foundations, at times we feel that they are now marginalized. And remember, these kids, when they start schooling, some of them, they go there without even knowing how to write. These teachers at that level, they start to teach them how to write. So those people, I think we must agree, they equally need to be recognized one way or the other for the contribution that they have made until these learners are able to reach that particular exit class, which is grade 12.
Mr. Themba, 2020, COVID hit, you soldiered on. 2021, still COVID. Some parts of COVID in 2022. We're now in 2023. Towards the end of 2022, the country started experiencing load shedding in a big way. Load shedding in itself has a potential of harming the teaching and learning process, impacting the teaching and learning process. What is your plan on load shedding and its potential disruptions of the education project?
Well, firstly, I think we all agree that load shedding on its own, it's disturbing the flow, not only of education, the flow of economy in the country, and all other related issues. But knowing that most of our schools are reliant on electricity, because we are now moving in the digital world, so you'll understand that indeed there is this particular challenge that is continuously affecting, especially the poorer schools who cannot be able to afford, the solar systems and all those things. We think our government should really up their game we think the innovation or the creation of a new minister in the office of the president, the minister of electricity, will be able at least to come up and make sure that the energy crisis in the country has been addressed. So we are hopeful, and but we think that over and above that, a department like education, they must be able, amongst others, to engage ESCOM so that some of these institutions must at least be exonerated from load shedding, because definitely when there's load shedding, these schools have been affected, and a number of other sectors, like I've said, even the economy. So we are hopeful that the country should then be able to find solution in terms of the load shedding, because it's creating a huge number of crises in our country.
Two more last questions from me, that Themba. One is when you look at, since the launch of the I Am a School Fan campaign, and looking at it today, where we are, I don't know how many years later it is, I don't know what it's 2 years, but you'll tell me now. When you look at it, are we reaching the sort of attitude we wanted to create, and the love for the schools that you anticipated as an organization?
Slowly but surely, Brati, we are also concerned that it seems our communities are not really coming on board the way we're expecting them, because you'll know that the issue of violence, instead of it decreasing, it is increasing. Issues of burglary in the schools and all those particular things, your issues of gender-based violence, these are some of the things that on a day-to-day basis, when you listen to radio, watch TV, there are incidents where educators have been attacked in the workplace. Something that we think ideally it should be a place where it's safe. Learning and teaching should be able to take place. So we think our communities should really understand our view around the School Fan campaign. As you will know, is that our response is that we want them to come very closer to the schools and work with the schools, because schools are but part of the community setup. Now, when we destroy infrastructure, I don't think we're doing it in the best interest. Actually, we're destroying the future of our own children. So we think with time, communities will understand. But we will not tire to continue pursuing the agenda of a School Fan campaign, so that people can ideally have an idea that we as SADTU, we think it's important that at the end of the day, all of us should have ownership of what is happening in and around the schools, because schools are but part of a society and a microcosm of our society.
Earlier on, I spoke to the National Treasurer of SADTU, who spoke about SADTU Fridays, where teachers would be expected to don on their SADTU regalia. What is the province, how do you anticipate to roll out SADTU Fridays, Provincial Secretary?
No, I think we're doing very well in that space. Every first Friday of the first month, we are having a SADTU Friday, and our members are enjoying this logo. It's a logo of pride. They associate very much with SADTU. So you'll see on social media set up, in Facebook pages, on Fridays our members are enjoying it. But we're not only talking about SADTU Friday in terms of just a regalia, but in essence we are saying our members equally so must be able to be on task, on time, and teaching, because we are not necessarily encouraging laziness in our schools. We want to see our schools also excelling. Therefore, as SADTU, we are champion of making sure that we produce quality. So this is part of the work that we are doing of conscientizing our members of their responsibilities, while at the same time enjoying to belong into a great organization like the South African Democratic Teachers Union.
Let me thank you, sir. Thank you for your work. Thank you for your activism. Thank you for your leadership in the province. We hope that leadership one day will spill into other provinces and so forth. I think it is important work that you're doing here, and we should be exposed and consumed at a very broader level.
No, thank you very much, Prati, for your opportunity, and we appreciate really our members who are continuously supporting us as a leadership. But thanks from Mzansi Urban Radio.